These are 12 of best, fresh, accurate, cheap clone fragrances, dupe fragrances in my collection that I'm gonna wear the most in this spring and summer. Some of them are my absolute favorites, some of them are my least favorites, but anyway, I'm sure they're gonna get you compliments. It's not all about my taste, even though if I don't like them, but I'm sure they're gonna get you compliments. So before starting the main list, I have here one honorable mention from House of Frank Olivier. I have here Eau de Passion, one of my absolute favorites from this house. How they could do this. Oof, it is exactly 100% like Egoist Platinum from House of Chanel. One of those extremely accurate cheapies, clones. But the only issue is here lack of performance. That's why it is honorable mention. It is like 5-6 hours max in terms of longevity, with first hour below average type of projection and sillage. A great choice for indoor situations, office. It is exactly like that fragrance, but yeah, I would like it stronger, let's say. That's why it is honorable mention. Egoist Platinum's dupe. Here we have Eau de Passion by Frank Olivier. Let's see the main list. I'm not sure how fair it is to put this one at number 12. Fragrance Waltz, Neroli Riviera. It is at number 12 because it is maybe too mature to my taste, a bit outdated, but man, such a great fragrance. It is like soapy, traditional soapy green. You're gonna get like green vibes, floral vibes, like orange blossom, soapy and citrusy, fresh, green, clean and mature. Has that age factor to it. It is exactly like Neroli Portofino by Tom Ford, and to be honest, I get like 5 hours, 4 hours max longevity with the real stuff. With this one I get 6 hours, 6 to 7 hours, let's say, on my skin, and projection and sillage is better compared to the real stuff, like average for first hour, hour and a half. So I won't buy or rebuy again Neroli Portofino by Tom Ford only because of this one, Neroli Rivera by Fragrance World. I said at the beginning some of these fragrances are my absolute favorites, some of them are my least favorite, but anyway, gonna get you compliments. This is one of those least favorites. Let's say Itcon Noir from House of Zemaya or Afnan. It is a citrusy, fresh, deep, a bit earthy, sweet, complex type of fragrance. Oh, it is beautiful, but not my cup of tea, as it is going after YSL's Myself, but Myself Le Parfum. It is deeper and twisted compared to the regular Myself. I like this one way better compared to the YSL Myself. Here we have some sort of more twisted nuances and weight at the base of the fragrance. I like that twisted stance of this fragrance. It is more complex, it is darker, has lots of things to say compared to the regular YSL Myself, and it is way cheaper and performs way better. I can get like solid 6 hours, 6 to 7 hours plus, let's say, with this one. Longevity with first hour, hour and a half average projection and sillage, but pushes great at the first hour, I have to say, to this one. So it's one Noir by Zemaya. Number 10, let's continue by Maison Alhambra. Oh man, I love this one. This one is a very great job. A very great job from this house, from Maison Alhambra. I am talking about Toro Puron. Damn, this one blows me away. I really like this DNA. It is like earthy, mature, zesty, classy, and has a very beautiful earthy, woody, soft, very base to it. I really like it. It is a very manly, citrusy fragrance. Let's say to this one, it is exactly like Terre de Hermes EDT version. One of the most accurate colognes right now in the market, and performs exactly like that fragrance. Not better, not worse. Like 6 hours in terms of longevity on my skin, and projection and sillage is a little bit better than the real stuff, like hour and a half below average, soft type of zesty, earthy. Damn, I want to smell it again. I really like this one. I really like this one. Toro Puron by Maison Alhambra. Number 9, let's continue by Frank Olivier. This time it is not honorable mention, as this is a better performer compared to the Eau de Passion. It is Blue Touch, which is aquatic, floral, oceanic, slightly like sweet type of fragrance. It is like on the steroids version of regular Aqua di Gio. It is not a beast mode fragrance, but compared to the Aqua di Gio, it is stronger, denser, and longer lasting. 7 to 8 hours plus I can get longevity with this one. With first hour and a half, good projection and sillage, and ladies love this one and gets better compliments compared to most of my highly expensive fragrances from women. Blue Touch by Franck Olivier. Let's continue by one of the most unfairly underrated cologne fragrances in my collection at number 8 from House of Versace. I have included this fragrance in several videos and I'm gonna do it more. That good it is, in my opinion. It is one of the best colognes in my collection. Agra from House of Versace. Let's arrange the atomizer. It is like green, high quality, mature, deep, has some sort of like rooty, earthy muddiness to it, which I like it, like orris root. Slightly has also irisy vibe to it, very little powdery and extremely green, fresh type of fragrance. It is exactly like green Irish to it from House of Creed. I would say in the air it is very difficult to say which one is the real stuff, but side by side this one is like less, let's say, musky compared to the real stuff, but in the air they are extremely close, like 90-95%, and same performance, even better. It is like 7 hours plus on my skin. Real stuff is like 6 hours. This one pushes better, projects better, and it is like 20 bucks for 100 ml, so it is a no-brainer, must-have cheapie. Number 7 is, in my opinion, also underrated. I like that expensive stance of this fragrance. By the way, I'm selling most of these fragrances on my website, medicine.com. You can find anything to smell and look good on my website, like clothing, accessories, decants, niche fragrances, expensive, cheap, designer, dupe, cologne, anything. So let's continue by House of Zemaya again. I have here Mezaj, which is a citrusy, fresh, slightly soapy green type of fragrance. I like that expensive stance of this fragrance. Reminds me of Louis Vuitton's Imagination, but side by side, this one has some sort of black tea-ish, boosted black tea-ish, which differs compared to the Louis Vuitton's Imagination, but makes the fragrance last longer at some points, let's say, to this one. But in the air, I have to say this one is like 90% close to Louis Vuitton's Imagination, and it is not that easy to say which one is the clone one. So Mezaj by Zemaya, one of the best cheap lasting alternatives of Louis Vuitton's Imagination. Number 6 is again from House of Maison Alhambra. It is not, to be honest, one of the best performing fragrances from this house, but also, to be honest, it is one of the most accurate cologne fragrances I've ever smelled. I'm talking about Jorge di Profumo, or Jorge di Profumo. Yeah, you can see from the bottle, from the name, it is exact cologne of Acqua di Gio Profumo. Sadly discontinued Acqua di Gio Profumo, the king, the legend. They did a good job here, I have to say to you. Closed eyes, yeah, I can say that it is not Acqua di Gio Profumo, as it is like more herbal compared to the Acqua di Gio. We have here less that incensey note, which shines at the dry down of the fragrance. But I have to say this one is one of the most accurate colognes of that fragrance that I have ever smelled. It is very difficult to find a good cologne of Acqua di Gio Profumo. This is one of the best, in my opinion. Yeah, it shines now, that incensey notes coming through. It is better at the dry down, more incensey, but at the opening it is different compared to Acqua di Gio. I can say differences, but at the dry down, in the dry down, I can say it is like 90% close to that masterpiece. So performance, I am not satisfied of the performance. I can get like 5 hours max longevity with this one, with first hour and a half soft below average type of projection and sillage, but I would prefer this one like with overspraying. With 10-15 spray you can get good 6 hours out of this one. So to be honest, not one of the best performing fragrances, but the best accurate clone of Aqua di Gio Profumo, which is one of my absolute favorites forever. Now we are at top 5. Without any further ado, let's continue by House of Letafa, one of the few fresh fragrances from this house. They are mostly in that darker side, but this is one of the few freshies from this house which gets crazy compliments. I'm talking about Letafa's Hayati, which is aquatic, bubblegummy and sweet type of fragrance. Very appealing, safe, easy to wear type of fragrance. It is exactly like Paco Rabanne's Invictus, but like denser, a bit thicker compared to that fragrance. I can get with this one like 6-7 hours plus longevity, with first hour and a half average to good projection and sillage. With real stuff it is like 6 hours, also first hour and a half average. It is like 1 hour longer lasting compared to that fragrance and pushes a bit better, not big time better, but a bit better compared to the real stuff, as it is thicker and denser. When you smell them side by side, you can see this one is like lungs filler. You feel something denser from the atomizer, from the air. So I would say this one is a better perfumer and for sure way cheaper, 20 bucks. Number 4, again by Maison Alhambra, but this time one of the longest lasting fragrances from this house, and for sure, like most of the times, one of the most accurate colognes also. I'm talking about Megara, which is a very different take on oceanic, seaweedy, aquatic fragrances. Atomizer is good, by the way. Well done, Maison Alhambra. I was not expected. I don't know why I would like to say, or I wouldn't like to say, I don't know. I can get oud. It is like way at the base of the fragrance, at the background of the fragrance. It is like seaweedy, fishy, oceanic type of fragrance in a most unique way possible, and has some sort of fruity vibe to it, like plumish vibe, like plummy, oceanic. And I don't know, I get something dirty which reminds me of oud at the base of the fragrance, but it is fresh. It is mostly in that fresh side, but a very unique take on aquatic oceanic fragrances. A really niche standing fragrance. It is exactly like Mega Mare by Orto Parisi, especially at the dry down, at the opening. Oud comes through at the dry down, in the dry down of the fragrance. It is exactly like Mega Mare by Orto Parisi. And I have to say this one lasts solid 10 hours plus on my skin, with 2-3 hours of good projection and sillage. Yeah, Mega Mare is better in terms of performance. It is like 16-20 hours plus on my skin with 7-8 hours projection and sillage, let's say. But for this price, I can say it is one of the best colognes of that fragrance. And yeah, it is like 50 ml and 15-20 bucks max for 50 ml. So in my opinion, one of the best no-brainer cheapies out there if you like niche standing aquatic fragrances. Number 3, most of you I'm sure know it. No need to talk that much about this one. It is in that group of must-have, forever, groundbreaking, game-changer cologne fragrances like Arm of Clapton Intense Man, like Rasasi Layu Kavam, Daraj, those great solid cheapies from House of Afnan. Turathi Blue, hands down at top 10 best cologne fragrances ever created, I have to say. This one, lasting, complimenting, expensive smelling, and cheap. What you want, what you expect from a cologne fragrance. It is lasting like 8 hours plus solid. I can get 10, but let's say 8 hours plus solid. And 2 hours of good projection and sillage. Gets solid compliments, smells expensive. It is very close but not exactly identical to Bulgari's Tiger. It is like a bit flatter version of that fragrance, and for sure gets crazy compliments. I believe it is one of those must-haves in any man's collection of Afnan Turathi Blue. Number 2 is again from House of Rasasi. I can say it is like accurate, very accurate cologne, but in the dry down, yes, I'm talking about Alwisam Day, which is like floral, musky, citrusy and fresh type of fragrance. In a most unique way possible, and has some sort of inky vibe to it. Where at the background of the fragrance, it is very close to Silver Mountain Water from House of Crete, but here we have added Silky Rose, which I believe works great with that DNA and makes it more feminine even compared to the Silver Mountain Water, which is perfectly unisex. This one leans feminine, but in the dry down it loses that rosy vibe and goes very close to Silver Mountain Water. I can get better performance with this one, 8-10 hours plus in terms of longevity, which is impossible with the real stuff, and 2 hours of good projection and sillage. To be honest, I can get equally compliments with both of these fragrances, and this is way cheaper. And number one, this is right now the most favorite and one of the most worn cheap cologne fragrances in my collection. I'm talking about Armaf's Paris You, which is one of the best jobs in my opinion from this house. Smells way better compared to 95% of other fragrances from House of Armaf. It is more rounded, less synthetic, let's say, to this one, and inoffensive. I really like it. It is very close to Absolute Aventus by Creed, with, let's say, less weight compared to that fragrance. Absolute Aventus is kind of denser and woodier in my opinion in the dry down, but they smell pretty close, damn pretty close. I can get like good 10-12 hours plus longevity with this one, with solid 2 hours, great projection and sillage, one of the best jobs hands down. And I can say it is right now one of my most favorite and most worn cheap cologne fragrances in entire my collection. Take care guys.